I don't know if you know it, but Donald Trump is not playing when it comes to this immigration deportation program. Just like he promised, this will be the largest deportation agenda the United States of America has ever rolled out. And I don't know if you know it, but he has employed other countries to take people in. So, for instance, you can you can you have to leave. You don't have to go home, but you can go to another country. In other words, if you're seeking asylum, then America shouldn't be the only place in the world that you can run to. So one of his plans is to send people somewhere else that is relatively safe. Of course, the advocates are saying that's not okay because they came knocking on America's doors. So why are you sending them to another nation where you cannot guarantee their safety? Anyways, if you don't know it, now you know. Panama was one of these places. And people are asking, why the hell is Panama and these other places working with the United States of America government to take in deported individuals? Well, here's the thing. Donald Trump basically ran upon them and said, look, you take the people or we sanction you. We'll make the deal sweet. We're going to pay you some money. So it's not like we're just forcing them on you. But you helped these people to get into the United States of America. A lot of these people came through the Panamanian jungles to get here. And they crossed from your country. You did not stop them. Thousands of them. And they ended up on our soil. So now that we're trying to get rid of them, you are going to be a part of it or I'm going to sanction you. Now we know all the different types of sanctions there can be. And basically these people do not want to be sanctioned, so they're working with the American government. That's just for those who want to know. So recently a plane landed in Panama carrying a group of individuals who had been deported from the United States of America. They got kicked out. You gotta go, you can't stay here. Go stay in Panama until you figure out how you're gonna get back to your country. Panama's government released dozens of U.S. deportees from jungle camp after allegations of human rights violation. This is something to see. The Panamanian government has released dozens of migrants who were deported from the United States of America, and they were being held for weeks in a remote detention camp as it faced mounting legal challenges and criticisms over alleged human rights violation. Panama is like, listen, we don't want no parts of any human rights violation. We were just trying to work with the U.S., get these people back to where they need to go, kind of thing. The migrants who arrived in Panama under an arrangement between the country, Panama, and the Trump administration, they now face uncertainty as they have been given 30 days to leave the country with the option to extend their stay by up to 60 days. Break it down in layman's terms. The Panamanian government is saying, we're going to release you from these camps that we have you in. You can float around Panama for 30 days, but after 30 days you are illegal here unless you file to extend your stay here. Now you can extend your stay for up to 60 days, but that's about it. After that, you will have to go. These are people who were deported from the USA, taken in under a deal that was made by the Trump administration and the Panamanian government. Here's the thing. It's 65 of them in this group that just got released from the jungle camp, right? This included individuals from China, Russia, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, and Nepal. They arrived in Panama City after being transferred from the Darien Jungle, a treacherous region that is located near the border with Colombia, that is used by many to make their way into North America. I don't know if you've ever seen the documentaries. People die in this jungle when they're trying to make their way to North America. It's a lot of wild animals in the jungle, so to speak. Then you have the coyotes, which are the people who rob them, the people who promise them that they will take them to safety. And, people are robbed and raped and even murdered and exploited. I heard one woman or a group of people said there are dead bodies out there. And trying to make it to North America, you're like climbing over these dead bodies. You're kicking dead bodies in the dark. You're trying not to get caught. Advocacy organizations and lawyers were present to provide support and legal pathway for those people who were released. However, dozens of others remain in those detention camps, as reported by major news media houses. These people, their homeland is China, Russia, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, and Nepal, and they are in Panama after being kicked out of the U.S. So they're stuck in a foreign land that they had no intentions of going to. They got kicked out of the U.S., which is where they really want to be, and they're all scared to go back to where they really come from, which are countries that are really far away. Don't just take my word for it. Just Google or Siri and ask, how far is China from Panama? How far is Russia? How far is Pakistan? How far is Afghanistan? These are all people who came to the U.S. seeking asylum and were sent deported. The deportation agreement between the U.S. and Panama, that's part of an effort by the Trump administration to accelerate migrant deportations by using third countries as transit points. Critics argue, though, that this policy effectively shifts the deportation process to other nations, bypassing international asylum protection. In other words, under the human rights laws, they're saying that this is illegal. The agreement gained attention after detained migrants in Panama City were locked inside of a hotel, and they were not allowed to be out of it, and they were in the windows holding up signs saying, "Please help us," and expressing their fears of returning to their home countries. Some of these people are saying they're going to be killed when they get back to their home countries, or they're going to be imprisoned for leaving when they get back to their home countries. Many deportees claim that they were denied the opportunity in the U.S. to seek asylum in the first place before being sent to Panama. There was one person here called Nikita Gaponov, a 27-year-old Russian national, who said that he fled his country due to prosecution as a member of the LGBTQ community. I don't know if you know it, but in Russia, it recently became illegal to be gay, illegal to be a part of the LGBTQ community, and he is openly LGBTQ. So he fears that going back to his country might get him killed. But I tell you what, I have never seen America so hard-lined against immigration than under the current Trump administration. Everybody is like they have no empathy, no sympathy for nobody. Right now, I can hear the voices saying, "That's not our problem. go back to Russia and be straight. You're gay, but that's your problem. You can also be straight. Or you can be gay and nobody has to know it. That's not a reason for you to want to seek asylum in the United States of America. Take your ass back. He was detained by the U.S. border, but he was not allowed to present an asylum claim. And subsequently, he was kicked out of the U.S. and shipped to Panama. And now Panama is giving him 30 days to float around Panama and figure his way out how he's going to get back to Russia. Once I get off the bus, so there was a time gone by where if you were a homosexual and you came to the United States of America running for your life from your country where it is violent for homosexuals, you could actually make your way into the United States of America, file asylum, and be protected. And usually these people would get an easy stay, you know, but times have changed. Times have changed. As you can tell, the Donald Trump administration is not LGBTQ friendly. The funniest thing about this to me is I remember during the period where the elections were being ran, there were groups out here flying the LGBTQ flag, and I remember distinctly LGBTQ for Trump. And I thought to myself, wow, LGBTQ for Trump was just as absurd as me seeing Venezuelans for Trump, as me seeing Haitians for Trump. Mind you, Venezuelans, their temporary protective status just got revoked. The Haitians, their temporary protective status also revoked. So they'll be out of here soon, or they will be fair game for ICE agents to catch, detain, and forcibly deport, right? But yet still, they supported Trump greatly during the election period. So this is the reason why I said I'm laughing when I'm not supposed to be laughing, but I am laughing because I am watching people get what they voted for. Now, this 27-year-old Russian who is now stuck in Panama, who just got released from the place in the jungle that they call the camp, he said that once he gets off the bus that they put him on from the jungle, sending him back to the city, I'll have nowhere to go tonight. I will be sleeping on the ground tonight. That's for a lot of the people who had gotten deported from the United States of America and got sent to Panama. So human rights groups have gathered on the ground, and they're over there trying to help these people out. You know, human rights groups have raised concerns over the conditions at this remote location that they have been housing these people at. What's going on here, like I said before, is that the Trump administration is paying money to the Panamanian government. The Panamanian government can use the money any which way they choose to. What they're doing is they're probably pocketing the money and then keeping these people in conditions that are not suitable to humane conditions, so to speak. So what's happening is human rights groups from around the world are gathering there in Panama, and they are trying to have a look at the conditions in which these people are being treated, where they're being housed. Are they getting proper medical care for those who need medical care? Are they getting adequate food and water? Reports from released migrants from this detention center, the facility in Panama, have come back to the media, and they have reported that the place described it as there's a lack of adequate food, there's harsh heat, there ain't no AC, no fans, no nothing. You just out there in the jungle, them ants and mosquitoes and whatever else having a feast on you. Restricted communications. Who has phones? Their phones are taken away. The phones that you can use there, you can only use them there every now and then. And then most of the time there is no service, and there is limited access to medical care out there. At least 3 individuals required medical attention from this group once they were released. And these three individuals included one person who had been vomiting for a whole week straight, another person who is a diabetic without access to insulin, and another person with HIV. We're talking AIDS, HIV, and that person was not getting any form of treatment for the condition. So the Panamanian authorities have denied allegations of mistreatment, but they have restricted access to the detention center. And recently, they had scheduled a media visit so media houses can come in from different TV stations from overseas. Come on in, see what we got, see how we're keeping the people. We're not doing anything illegal. We're not housing them in harsh conditions. But just before that was scheduled to happen, they canceled that meeting and released some of the people as well, which kind of tells me that they're probably being housed in exactly the conditions that they described. Now, I understand the people in America wanting to be anti-migrants or anti-illegal immigration, if you will, but how do you justify some people who genuinely are running from persecution in their country and could have found safety in America and were willing to be hardworking, law-abiding, tax-paying citizens, and now they're stuck out in Panama in the jungle in a detention center in what they call out there a black hole. Lawyers and advocacy groups described the camp where the people are being held as a black hole. They are saying that migrants that are held without legal representation or clear information about their status are out there. Some detainees had their phones taken. Some of them had a phone. So they had some level of access to get to their people or to get to their legal representative councils. Those were taken away from them. They were confiscated and they were prevented from contacting legal counsel to help them find out where they're at, send somebody come get them, speak on their behalf, etc. Lee Gellert, an attorney who works with the American Civil Liberties Union, criticized the deportation policy on February 27th. He said that individuals, including families like our clients, are being sent to Panama without any screening for asylum. That means in the US, under Donald Trump, these families should have been screened, seeing if they have a reason to be seeking asylum. They didn't even get a screening. And despite not having any connections to Panama, they find themselves in Panama. And when they get there, they are disappearing into what we call the black hole or the black box, without access to counsel, without access to outside help where somebody can help them to get to where they need to be. Panama's Deputy Foreign Minister Carlos Ruiz Hernandez suggested that most deportees did not intend to stay in Panama, but they would rather go to the USA. Now, that goes without saying. The USA has kicked them out. The USA has deported them. So with the USA deported them, obviously they can't come back into the USA. Where do they go from here? Now we're looking at people who are from Russia and China and all these other far out places around the world, and they are stuck in Panama. What is the next step for these people? The next step for these people is to beg Panamanian authorities to grant them some visas, if you will, so they can start a new life in Panama. Something similar to what a green card would be for the United States of America. It's that bad in their country, right? So you're guessing they do not want to go back to their country, but America won't have them here as well. So why not set your mind on somewhere else? Well, International organizations are attempting to facilitate resettlement to third countries. These countries are known as third countries. And they have these international organizations that are trying to help the people, right? By going to the authorities in these countries like Panama, their immigration authorities, and asking them, okay, can you be of help to these people? Because most of them can't go back to their regular country and they've been kicked out of the US. So they're here in Panama. Can you at least grant them some visas so they can start getting their lives together here? You know, look for a job or some way of earning a way to take care of their family here so they can become legal, law-abiding, tax-paying citizens here and be somewhere safe in Panama. Well, the Panamanian government is not having that as well. And as far as the international organizations are finding out, these nations that the US are sending their deportees to, none of these nations are extending visa opportunities to the people that they are taking in. The most that Panama has done is given them 30 days to figure out how to get the hell up out of their country. They've also just added that they will extend the 30 days to 60 days. But that is all they have. Once you get the 60 days, you're out of here. After 60 days, you have become illegal in Panama as well. What's that going to lead to? That is going to lead to Panama now doing their own deportation flights, taking these people, bringing them back to where they come from, most of them, which I explained to you earlier, the countries from which this group came from: China, Russia, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, and Nepal. These are all places that are super far away from Panama. And the Panamanian government is like, we don't want you settling here. You know, we need you up out of here. So this is the plight of these people. Listen, if I was in the US at this moment and it came down to where I felt like they were going to deport me, I would self-deport. But we don't know people's personal situations. Some people are genuinely running for their lives from where they come from. Others, they just have this dream of wanting to be in the United States of America. But who am I to decide for them, right? I wish those in the jungle all the best. It's rough out there, but that's life. Now, to add to that, let's talk about what Donald Trump just did with the CBP One app. Are you ready for this? So, the CBP One app used to allow migrants to stay outside of the United States of America and schedule appointments with U.S. immigration so that they can get their cases going before they even come into the United States of America, filing for asylum, right? Well, the first thing Donald Trump did when he became president again, February 20th, 2025, he got rid of the CBP app. That means there was no way for anyone outside to schedule these appointments. Then what he did now more recently, a day ago, the CBP app has been reinstated, but the CBP app now serves a different purpose. You got to stick around to hear this. Donald Trump's administration officials are encouraging people who are living in the United States without legal permission to self-deport using the same app that many of them used to cross the border in the first place. The CBP Home app now lets people report that they are planning to leave the United States of America and return to their home country. The Biden administration had launched this app. It was then known as the CBP One back in 2021. And this was a way to allow migrants to schedule asylum hearings and reduce illegal border crossings. So they were supposed to wait outside of the US. And once their case were called up, they would make their way to the border. And once they made their way to the border, they would have this appointment on their phones scheduled where they would show to the American authorities who would let them into the country to come to their appointment, right? Trump argues that Biden officials abused the process to allow an estimated 1 million people to enter and live in the United States of America while their asylum requests were pending. Not wait outside till they get a call, but they were able to come into the US while it is pending. Now, Donald Trump's officials said that they are encouraging people who they can identify through this CBP One status to voluntarily leave the United States of America instead of waiting to be detained and forcibly deported. This is the part that gets really interesting right here. Check it out. The identification process of the CBP app when people were coming into the country, they may not have known that it was this deep. So the app provided illegal aliens in the United States with a straightforward way, right? This is what it does now. It now provides illegal aliens in the United States with a straightforward way to declare their intent to voluntarily depart from the United States of America, offering them the chance to leave before facing harsher consequences. Pete Flores, the acting commissioner for U.S. Customs and Border Protection, said in a recent statement, "This reinforces our commitment to enforcing U.S. laws and safeguarding national security. Self-deport. Do not let us come looking for you." The app is linked to a user's name. It uses facial recognition, and it tracks a user's specific location through their phone's GPS. People who are reporting that they are self-deporting are asked to take a photo of themselves, provide personally identifying information, disclose whether they have a passport from another country or not, and say whether they have enough money or not to depart from the United States of America. I'm guessing if they don't have enough money, then the money will be provided for them to leave. If they don't have a passport, then I guess that they will provide the money to get the passport to get them to leave. If you understand, you can't just show up to the airport and say, "I'm going to Jamaica. I've been in the US for 4 years and I'm illegal here, so I'm going back home to Jamaica where I come from." It doesn't work like that. Everybody who has traveled knows once you get inside of that airport, you're going to go through TSA, you're going to go through immigration check, you're going to have the proper documents in order to even clear that before you can board a plane, right? So even if people want to leave, some of them might not have the necessary documents to leave. But through this CBP app, they are able to tell the American authorities, "I want to self-deport. I want to leave. I just don't have enough money to leave, and I just don't have the legal documents to clear immigration or to clear TSA when I do leave." It was immediately unclear at the moment whether these people are supposed to report their self-deportation plans, given that federal immigration officials could use information that's collected by the app to target these people who say plan to leave but hadn't really departed. Critics of the original app said that it was misused under Biden administration by migrants who would request their asylum, and then once they got into the country, they would ignore all the other notifications when their court hearings were, when their rulings were made, and they would just stay in the island, in the country. They would just pick up and go somewhere else and just start a new life. And they weren't really using it for anything other than to come into the country. This is the reason why when Donald Trump took office, one of the first things that he said was for the people who had been in the U.S., who came across the border over a year ago, and you have not filed any paperwork to seek asylum, to adjust your status, you are automatically deportable because you're just here and you have no reason to be here. You have no paperwork that says you have any intentions of being here legally. So he's getting rid of those first, along with the criminals and those who already have orders for them to be deported from the United States of America. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, she recently told Fox News that people who self-deport, they may one day have the option to return legally to the United States of America. But she said, a warning to those who remain in the country without permission. If you think you're going to just run around and hide and not be detected, well, guess what? If you force ICE to have to come look for you and find you and detain you and forcibly deport you, you will be barred from the United States of America forever. You will never be able to come back into this country. So that's the deal that they're giving out right now. They need as many people as possible to self-deport, and they are even helping them to self-deport. That's the plan. That's why the CBP app has been repurposed. However, if you ignore it and you're still caught, just know that you can never come back from that. But for those who take it and go, they will have a chance to come back the proper way. You go home, a deportation will not be on your record. You file proper papers from your country to have a visa and to enter the United States of America, and then you come here and you work your way from there. But again, for those who ignore it and those who run off and those who try to hide, if you force ICE to have to come looking for you, when they find you, there will be no recourse for you. You will definitely be deported automatically. Not only will you be deported, you will be barred from the United States of America forever. That's the latest update on what's happening in U.S. immigration at the moment. Now, leave your comments in the comment section below. I hope you share this with somebody, and I'll catch you on the next video. It's SouFLoTV. I'm out. Peace.